Okay, we are back, and I am going to hand over the mic to Miss Jahari.
Ooh, what was our question again? What did we?
What happened to your what happened to the village that raised us? And
Ooh.
then you're going to give a little bit of
So I was raised by both my mom and my dad, yet my great grandmother helped them.
real authentic recording right
Yes. My great grandmother, she helped raise me, and I can honestly say it was one of the some of the best years of my life. She instilled a lot of values and morals in me that I still hold true to today. I am the eldest of my grandmother on my dad's side's grandchildren. So I'm the oldest granddaughter. And I was raised with all my cousins on both sides, my mom and my dad's side, coming from the Seventh Ward on my dad's side and the Lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans on my mom's side. I knew all of my cousins. When I say all of them. There was always something going on. My grandmother also, when my great grandmother worked, she took part in helping with my upbringing. I was I came up with all my uncles. So I have an uncle. I have on my dad's side one, two, three uncles, four aunts. On my mom's side, four uncles and three aunts. And like I said, I knew everybody when it came down to my extended family. Parties almost every weekend. That village is still it's actually still around. I hold a text thread with both sides of my family, with my dad and his sisters and brothers, and with my mom and her living sisters and brothers. Then we have a cousins thread on my mom's side with all of the first cousins. So I remember growing up in the St. Bernard projects with my great grandmother, always had a home cooked meal. It was very rare, like you said, Miss Rosalind and Tanisha, when it came to going out to eat, that was, when I say rare, I mean extremely rare. Mm-hmm. My grandmother, even though she worked that night, she made sure she cooked before she left. I may have had a cousin to look after me sometimes when I didn't go to work with her because she cleaned office buildings at night. Um, it was fun for me. I can actually say I had a childhood. I was able to grow up and be a child from infancy on up to adolescenthood. I moved to St. Louis when I was 4, and I was back and forth from 4 all to age maybe 7 from St. Louis to New Orleans. And when I once we arrived to St. Louis, I met more extended family. My great aunt helped take care of my sister and I. And I had my great grandmother and my great grandfather who took part in our upbringing as well. So when it comes down to a village, though some of my great grandparents are going to have one great grandmother, the one who took care of me, that's still alive right now, and my dad's mom, my grandmother, she's still alive also. It was, for me personally, one of the best villages and still is. Every family has their issues, but it's still to this day, we hold true to celebrating birthdays with each other. If we're unable to be there, there's still constant communication. Technology hasn't hindered us. It's actually been more of a help. Being the fact that now you can video with people, mm-hmm. it has made it a lot easier. Though you're not there in person, we're still here both in spirit and we can see each other online. I can. It's been pretty cool. I think my adult life has been
roller coaster.
Yeah.
As we like to say, dysfunctionally functional.
Yes, more than my childhood. My childhood memories are all fun. I had a really, really good upbringing.
You made
I think
me.
that's about all.
Oh, sorry.
What's that?
I was gonna say you listening to you talk. You reminded me of something, and I had said that a lot of things I had put in the back of my head. And
Mhm.
one of the things, and I don't even know why I put it away because it wasn't something bad.
Mhm.
Um, so we grew up in, or we lived in these apartments here in Temple. At the time, they were called Adams Bend Apartments, and so this is part of my village because um, there was a group of pretty. I think they were all. It was all single mothers. It was my mom. There was
Mhm.
Miss. I'm just gonna call her Miss K. Um, and some other. There was Miss K. There was Miss Katie. There was Miss Charlize. Like I remember all these women, and they got together and like we would do um like breezeway decorating contests in the apartments. Um,
Oh,
we would the moms would get together and we'd have Easter egg hunts in the apartments. This was in the housing area of the city. Temple's not very big, but every city has its quote unquote projects.
mhm.
So, um, and then they they allowed or she my mom and those women went and talked to the housing authority and they allowed them to use uh, um one of the empty apartments and they turned it into a community center in the apartments. And we would have
Oh, wow.
arts and craft days, we would have movie nights. Um, then they had some people from a church come, they had the Big A Club. So you reminded me that there was a part of my village that I had left out. And I
Mhm.
feel like those women really made a difference. Now that I look back, I think seeing them work together um, and work through things, even in the circumstances that we were in, um, like that, I think that helped build some of my character. And it also showed me what I want to try to be for my kids and my granddaughter and things like that. So I
Mhm.
don't know, you just reminded me. I don't know what it was you said, but that popped in my head. Like, how did I forget that?
A village is something that's very important. It's something that you see it, yet you don't see it. It's one of those. It's a community that's honestly hidden because you don't hear people talking unless it's someone that you know personally,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually talk with you about what they may be going through. There are some villages that are still out there. They just are not spoken of because of what we see on social media. We see more negative, especially when it comes down to the African American community, than we see positive. And when you now have this group of women, us, coming together and sharing our story, and as we continue to go more and more, people will know this can be done. Tanisha and I were talking about it yesterday. Like this is as you guys learn about our story, whew, y'all gonna be like, what in the world?
I
But
love
it's possible.
I love the relationship that you two have. Um, like I can't wait for the audience to see.
I feel like it's a little teaser. Like,
Right.
so
Yeah, man.
let's just say we're sister wives, okay? Like,
yeah, we are.
and then we'll get into that because that's what the running joke is in the family is that we are sister wives, and we go from there. But
But I remember where, well, Jahari, this is really the first time, unfortunately,
that
this
we're
is the
meeting.
first
Yeah.
time that we're meeting and that we've actually gotten to talk. And so I remember the frustrating times because there was miscommunication. There was some misunderstandings. You know, both of y'all were only getting one side of the story. Um, and then to see how y'all came from that to be where you are now. I cannot wait for this audience to hear that,
Definitely.
because people are going to be like, wait, what?
Yeah. And that's why, like, it was another push to get this out, because yeah, you could say the old village is gone, but you could redefine it. And we're living proof of redefining what, a village is. And it's funny because we already kind of bled into the next perspective of defining the village as we talk about what happened to our village. Now we should focus on like the roles, and we dibbled in a little bit, the roles that are integral within the village, like what was abandoned and then which ones must we bring back. Like, so
I can tell you one.
what?
Spanking the mess out of these disrespectful children.
I mean, we gonna keep it.
It'll be nice.
We gonna keep it nice. But let's just say, I think a big a role, not a process, not a process, but a role that has been abandoned. Let's take it back from before we walk out the doors of our house, right? Just in home, because your village starts in the house, right? I am so tired of going on TikTok and seeing hot granny summers. Grandmas are not the same anymore. Yo, bring back Big Mama. And now, what I will say is, I recently became a grandmother in June, right? So I'm 45, recently became a grandmother in June. Full transparency, I haven't seen my grandchild yet, right? Because of what's going on in life and kids think they know everything, right? I haven't had the opportunity to hold my grandbaby and instill in my grandbaby what my grandparents instilled in me and give him those things, right? But I can tell you, I know some people who do have grandkids, and they in Cancun, they in Jamaica, it's hot granny summer. It's, listen, you got 3 hours because I got to get my hair done, my nails done. Granny is not the same. And they find it comical on TikTok, but at first, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at the first few videos, but then I was like, looking around, I'm like, this is really what grandma, people don't cook no more. Like, kids, remember our parents used to say, you're going to your grandparents' house for the summer. And you, soon as that bell let out for school, your luggage was already packed. You on whatever bus ride, or your grandparents is already there. And that gave your parents an avenue to decompress, for them to be supported by their village and be mom and dads, or at that time, they wasn't mom and dads. They were recharging and being husband and wife, and then also, doing what they need to do for the summer, save up money, blah, blah, whatever they needed to do. And kids, the legacy keepers, were able to go see, just like you said, Rosalind, you with your grandfather, there was nothing to do. You was out there in the field, right? I lived in New York, but my grandmother that I lived with, my grandparents, they was born and raised in Opelika, Alabama. So when we went to Big Mama's house, it was the only time I ran through fields. And I hate ants now, but back then I was rolling in the ant thing. I remember taking baths in tomato juice because I was hard-headed, because I know what fresh green beans taste like. I miss my homemade strawberry jelly. I miss like real sweet tea. Corn. I have a love for cast iron pots because I've seen generationally how they're appreciated. It's grandparents. Like, I understand why you can't sit in the good living room. Like, I get that. I understand why there was only cool air in one place. Spot. Right? But you want to know why? Because your ass should have been outside. You go outside, you breakfast, you go outside. You ain't got to worry about how hot it is in the house because you outside. Don't come back in the house until the sun go down.
I like drinking from a hot water hose.
Yes. That is a role that grandparents need to come back, like, to us. I think they are the focal point of, you understand why your parents are the way they are. and then you just learn things outside of that your parents don't really get a chance to teach you because unfortunately they got to work and everything else. That's one of my roles. I don't know. I'll pass the mic to either you, Jahari, like either one.
I can agree to that. And I think I can maybe give a little bit as to why some of the grandmas want to have a hot grandma summer. Most grandparents, I raised my children. Yet when I become a grandmother, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. In most grandparents' mind, I've already raised mine. That you can come over and you can go home. You have a lot of grandmothers out here who feel like they're in competition with the 20-year-old that's on TikTok. Woo! Because the men that are their age
are looking at
the 20-year-olds and some of the 30-year-olds, depending on the age. It doesn't matter the age, it's the mentality of the man and it's the mentality of the woman. You have to be someone of a strong mind to sit and say, you know what, I had my fun. Now I'm going to spend my days with my grandchildren. My mom comes here every summer and she actually spends time with her grandchildren. She also door dashes and she takes them with her, especially that oldest one of hers. That's her little bodyguard. She cooks when she's here. She makes sure that they are learning. There's always some type of an educational part of the day, even though it's summer, there's some type of an educational part of the day. She makes sure that they have breakfast, that they have lunch, and that something's cooked for dinner. I love my mom for that. My dad, we get to go see him. He's come here a couple times, and they've enjoyed being with their papa. I really think that it's the mentality of that grandmother and or grandfather. I get it. I raised you. This is your child. Now you're responsible. I did what I knew to do when I was raising you. So now, and if you've learned something from me, you should know. That's how I think some of the grandmothers feel. I could be wrong, but I feel you. If our children spent more time with our elders, there would not be as much disrespect out here in the world. You also have to have a good role model too, be it male or female, for these young men and young women out here. Yes, because the stuff I see, the words I hear come out of these little teenagers' mouths.
Bro would have been said one time. That would have been the infamous TikTok video. Bro would have been said one time, and that would have went viral.
The other one is what? I cannot stand when somebody what me. Please don't what me. Mm-hmm. I'm getting on your nerves. Please don't what me. Don't do that. That's not nice. Yep. That is a big role. Having grandparents who actually are there to instill morals and values in their grandchildren. I like that one. How about you, Miss Rocky?
I agree.
What you disagree about? There's a disagree in that. Go ahead.
So I agree that we definitely need some big mamas and Medeas
and papas
and papas and granddaddies in the picture. I can honestly say my mom is, they call her Grand Diva. That's her nickname. And she is that. She enjoys her cruises, but she does make sure she takes time to spend time with her grandkids. She has, right as of now, she has 11 grandkids and one great granddaughter. Oh. And like she'll take a trip to Lubbock and spend time with my brother's two kids. She goes and does the parent days at one of my nephew's schools. She'll come and like, she tries to do individual time with the girls, my sister's foster kids. they do crafting, and like she does different things with the different groups because these kids are different. Like I don't know what the Lord was thinking when he made that generation. I think he might have skipped a code or something. Um but and then my dad, I think my dad was in the army for so long that he treats everybody like they're one of his soldiers.
Yes, I can understand.
So he tries to talk, he tries to have these. My dad is 76 and he tries to have conversations with my 15-year-old, and y'all can just imagine how those go. My son just looks at him like, Papa, what are you talking about? My older boys, they just kind of be like, yep, yeah, Papa, yeah. They just, but he doesn't, that quality time and that the I guess the lessons that I would think that he would try to instill in them, he doesn't really do that. Like I said, has that military mindset, and it's like, this is what I told you to do. You do it and move on.
Very disciplined.
So I can't say that I disagree with wanting to bring back that old school. I don't even want to say child rearing, but that old school mentality that the grandmas and grandpas had. Um, I plan to do my hot granny summer next summer. Oh, I forgot that they does that. Yeah, I plan to do my hot granny summer next summer because that's my celebration for graduating in December. So,
right.
So my grandbaby will be with her mama and her daddy, and and grandma is gonna be on somebody's boat somewhere, going somewhere. Um, so I guess that's the. I think Nisha, I think you sent me a meme one time about the grandma doing a vacation. She just went into the other room in her house,
yeah.
and I was like, that looked good too.
She rolled right into the spare bedroom.
So I don't know if it's my age is starting to catch up to my body or what, but um I want to be my grandkids big mama, Medea. Like I want to be able to like give them some of the things that I remember my grandparents giving me. Both of my grandparents on both, like I have no grandparents and no great grandparents still living. So it's up to me to take what I learned from them and try to pass that down to my legacy keepers. And I can't wait to be able to, like trying to get this 15-year-old to not be afraid of the gas stove and actually cook something other than eggs.
Hey, I'm still scared of gas stoves, okay? When that I'll be like, listen, it's going in the microwave.
I love it.
Like it's going in the microwave.
Gas is the best thing to cook on.
Look,
especially the stove.
Yes. I'm gonna need you to, because I love you. I do. But you said that when you graduated, you are not staying here, that you were leaving. So I need you to be able to feed yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can't come back over here. I'm just playing. You know I ain't gonna not feed. I love to cook. I always cook too much. But like I'm excited to teach her how to grow her own food and how to fix a hem or sew a button on, like just all those little things that my grandmother and my great grandmother and my grandfather taught me.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take a page out of your book for growing stuff. Is I don't have no green thumb at all.
I got you. I got you. Eventually, at some point, it's time for me to take my medicine. Hold on, y'all.
Like I said, real and authentic. No edit, no retake, no nothing. You gonna get it all.
I have to set alarms for everything. I have to set alarms to eat, to wake up.
Look. Okay, so while you're doing that, let's kind of like we said grandparents is a role that needs to come back, and it's gonna bleed into my second role. Yeah, you really left. I can't. So look, we said grandparents need to come back, right? Mm-hmm. But it's going to bleed into my second role of why I feel like grandparents are the foundation, right? No matter what generation, why they are the foundation. Roles that we have abandoned that we must reclaim. Male and female roles within life. It's a touchy subject, right? And it's really touchy because some women come off as being very masculine because some men don't step up to certain particular roles that they should be doing. So if we reclaim what those roles are, and it doesn't mean like only a woman washes dishes, right? That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying there are just some things that within a relationship, within a village that needs to get done. And it does not go undone, right? But then there's just things that, where do we say the baseline is that is a woman's thing and a male thing? Because there's just some roles that we don't have a choice in. We have to carry the kid. We have to give birth to the kid. Like, so now we push them out. The baby's here. How do we start the dynamics of defining those roles within the village? Like, what should a man do after the baby comes? What should the woman do after the baby comes? Like, what if the woman wants to go to work and the man wants to stay home? Like, how are we redefining those roles without putting a sex to it, but just putting accountability? Outside of what God already instilled. The woman, the man puts the baby in the woman, and the woman carries the baby. And then after that, we're supposed to be a team. So how do we define those roles? And I think why I keep saying grandparents is because grandparents kind of help you shape and form what some of those definitions are. Male chivalry. I could tell you, one of my grandmothers on my mother's side, I've never seen her drive. I didn't even know if that woman ever drove a car a day in her life. But my grandmother on my dad's side, she drove. Very little did she drive, but
she did drive.
She did drive. There was just certain things that I saw in the relationship, in those relationships where I don't think my grandmother, on my mom's side, she was a cafeteria worker. My grandfather was a construction worker and a preacher. My grandmother on my dad's side was a nurse. My grandfather was a carpenter, and I think the other one was in construction and stuff like that. Just, I saw the men had more physically demanding jobs. They were out the house longer. But the mother had two jobs, whether it was a part-time job outside or a full-time job outside, and then she took care of the home. The man didn't have to worry about the kids. But how do we really define those roles? And I think right now, social media has kind of put a twist on that to where the roles are all discombobulated, and then it causes this disconnect into how women and men can get in relationships with each other, because you have some men who are more feminine, and they feel like they shouldn't have to do things because of whatever reason. And then you have more women who are masculine because they have no choice but to do stuff. Or, I mean, I just don't know. It's a touchy subject, but I just feel like defining that, I would love to get your perspective, because I was like waiting to bleed into it because my mind goes all over the place. So I don't know. And we're all single mothers, right? And we all understand, we all been married and divorced. We've been in relationships, and we're trying to co-parent with men. And if we could get a great understanding of what these roles are and bring them back, I think that the village would be a real village. Like we can really be working together. Like to have hot granny summers.
Man. I'm sorry. My Sagittarius is showing all on my face while you're so I apologize, everybody. my face is saying a whole lot.
She's my twin flame because I'm a
Leo.
Leo and you, we both fire signs. Yeah.
And I'm just the crabby crab over here.
You're the one that keeps us, you keep us balanced though.
That's right. Gotta have the balance.
Baby. Okay.
For me, that question, it is that is a no, I'm sorry, not question. That is a touchy subject. It depends on where you're coming from with that question. Are we talking about in a marriage, or are we talking about in relationship with just somebody shacking up?
Let's pause that right there.
All right.
So I don't like when people are in relationships, and a marriage shouldn't change your perspective on the relationship. I feel like a marriage is a legal document that is protecting your assets. That certificate does not say, oh, as of today, I love you even more, because you have built up a love for each other to say, now we're going to build our empire. This is us protecting our legacy. So I feel, and I'm not saying, because my grandma say, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free, right? I understand that nature of things, but you have to learn a person and stuff like that. And I just feel like male to female, female to female, male to male, whatever your relationship is, I love it all. Your love is a love, like that's the goal, is to lock it down on paper so no one could come and take it away from you. That's how I look at it. Like marriage is. Marriage should not be, oh, now we could be serious.
Yeah. I understand.
And that's the problem we have. A lot of people just be in these relationships and then they want to get serious in marriage. And that's why the marriage lasts for like 2 days. And then we're in divorce court, right? No, work on it from the beginning. Now it should be from a family member to how you and I do business with each other. Like, bro, like I said, we sister wives. So we have to get that understanding of what role are we going to play. Hint, hint, you're getting inside our relationship. What role are we going to play within the kids? Then to being married to someone that, like, those are different. Those are different expectations. So I don't think, I think we should stop saying marriage makes them.
Marriage doesn't make it. It. I think that what it is, this is just from my perspective. I saw something online a couple of days ago, and it was a guy speaking about a man when he knows that if a woman is wife material, he knows within the first 60 seconds of talking to you, or not even talking, but just looking at the woman. For me, it's more of a biblical thing. When you are with somebody, first and foremost, does anybody even court anymore? Because courting doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be physical with you. That's getting to know you. It could be holding hands. It doesn't necessarily have to be kissing and touching and doing all of those type of things. You got to
translate to the new world. That's sliding in your DMs. That's courting, right? We're gonna get
no, that is not courting.
I mean, that's
what they're doing now. But I'm putting it out there. Let me put this out there. PSA: sliding in my DMs is not courting me.
According to social media now, that's what it is. But that's not. A lot of men.
What's your cash at?
They don't know how to approach a woman.
They don't.
A lot of the young men don't know how to approach a woman. When it comes down to roles, again, I really think it has something to do with how were you brought up? What did you see your mom do? What did you see your dad do? Did you have, if you are from a single family home, be it mother or father, was there a positive, if you come from a single father home, was there a positive female role model in your life to show you how a young lady is supposed to present herself? Because perception is big with a lot of people. Is there a good male role model in the life of a little boy who has a single mom, or a young man who has a single mom? It truly, for me, I think that's where it all comes into play. Because, men they're the hunters and the gatherers. Go out and work, you come back home. You give to me, you provide what I need to take care of your home. Because a woman is supposed, well, when it comes down to marriage, your wife is supposed to double what it is that you just brought in, to make sure that you never need for anything, especially when it comes down to eating. Your house is supposed to be taken care of. The children are tended to mainly by the woman, but you still need your father to give you the insight on how a man behaves for his little girls and how a woman behaves for his young men. Yeah. So when it comes down to, for me, when it comes down to that role, I think it's strictly with upbringing. How were you brought up? Who was that person in your life that you can say, I want to be like that person when I grow up? To me. Because what we see, there are some young men who are raised by just their single mom, and that mom still, in some way, form, or fashion, teaches her son how he is to behave. One word I'm not a fan of is when somebody say, well, why are you acting like that, baby? I don't get paid to act. I'm not acting like anything, because actors get paid and they play a role. This is who I am. I'm being my authentic self. If you don't like it, then I'll see you later. Women can teach a young man how to be a young man. That's a big debate also.
I'm raising the boy. I raised the boy who's a man. I feel like I did the best with the cards that I was dealt with. But looking now at this 25-year-old, there was some marks I couldn't hit because I am not a male. I am not going to understand those particular milestones that they hit, where they need their dad at, right. Or a male figure. No, I'm not even going to say a male figure. They need their dad. There's just something. I grew up without my mother, right? I hit points in my life where I had an amazing stepmother. I had grandmothers. I needed my mom. I wanted the person who carried me. It was just, I needed to hear that answer from her. And there's just some things that I missed out on that I feel like if she was around, I'm not saying I wouldn't be the person that I am now, but I'm saying that maybe I would have a different insight on things. I could tell you, not having her around kind of orchestrated how I raise my kids. I'm a little more not really their mother in some instances, and I'm more their friend because I didn't have a mother, right? So I know motherly roles to do, but then missing out on certain things, like I just couldn't do. So to go back, I think boys need their dads and moms need their daughters need their moms. True. Because there's just things in life like that's how it was meant to be. You needed the two in order to make you. So you need the two in order to develop you. Like it's a thing.
But what about those dads who don't want to be?
And that's where the village comes in. That's where I said, if you have a choice, it should be the father. Then it should be
an uncle,
a father figure or male figure. The closest you can get to the legacy. Let's reframe for you. The closest you could get to the legacy, it makes sense. And sure. I say that because I thought sending my son to therapy to a male therapist would help. That was the furthest thing. That was the last thing he needed, because the therapist was not relatable to my son. Like, so bring it into the village, into the family. Yes, a therapist is part of the village, right? 6 degrees of separation, probably. Right. But yes, uncles, I have one brother. Great uncles, fortunately, don't have a lot around. Then you start going down the seams, and then it's like it leaves the legacy, it leaves the lineage, and then it goes to my friend's dad. I don't want your friend's dad legacy over here. He's implementing stuff that wasn't instilled in you from day one, and then it goes from the friend's dad to the therapist that we bring in, and then unfortunately social media. And then that's what's raising our kids. So hone it all back into the village, and we need our men, and we need our women, we need our moms, we need our dads to raise these kids. Like that's really it. Miss Roslyn. What was the question?
You're muted.
Y'all couldn't hear me.
Oh.
Well, so I had to take a breath. That was a lot of a lot. So I was over here trying to type some notes to keep up. Yeah. First thing you were talking about, that I do agree that marriage should not be the point where people are like, oh, it's for real now. Our ancestors didn't have that piece of paper.
True.
You get what I'm saying?
True.
They jumped the broom, and marriage is marriage, and I was partially raised by my grandparents, and they were deep in the church. And I remember my granddaddy used to always say, the Lord wants us to prove a friend. And proving a friend is what we would call courting. You get to know that person. And it's not, oh, I talk to you, we text back and forth for 2 weeks, and now we're ready to be together, and we're gonna be together forever. It don't work that way.
Right.
Maybe there might be maybe 1.065% of relationships work out that way. But we've gotten away from getting to know people, like really getting to know people. That's one of the things that I was saying about like technology kind of taken away from the village, because there's so much out here that's not real.
Yeah.
And so then it puts these pictures in men and women's minds of, oh, this is what I want. But then when the real comes, you don't know how to handle that, because you're so used to looking at this Barbie doll that went and had, I need to turn that off. How do I do that? We're so used, I can't help it. I talk with my hands. We're so used to looking at this Barbie doll that then went and had 12 plastic surgeries, and she got on 15 pounds of makeup and 2.5 wigs and and all of this, and but that is not reality. Like, people, that's not people. And you get those little 15-20 second clips of somebody living their best life, but then when they see what is really going on behind the scenes, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that is not what you showed me. It's like that's the biggest catfish in the world. Then what else? So as far as, you talked about or you asked about the roles, because of women being more masculine and men being more effeminate, I guess that's what I would say. In some ways, I think that as single mothers, we probably can relate to the fact that you got so used to having to just do it because there wasn't anybody else there to do it. And then when a man comes into the picture, it's like, okay, so now how do I soften up from that and but still be able to handle business the way I need to handle business for my household? Yeah. And soften up enough to step aside and let that man be the man and lead in the way that he's supposed to lead.
He's got a hand up.
What? Wait, because I think I don't. Wait.
All right.
Because he has to also. Because I was married to one who I thought had the right mindset to lead. And I learned that he wasn't there yet. And I don't even know if he's there now, but I know then he wasn't there yet. So that also plays a part. But my bad. Go ahead, Jari.
You answered my question, because my question was, has he shown you that he can lead? Has he allowed for you to allow yourself to be soft? Because that's the new word, right? The soft. I mean, my soft area.
My soft area.
My soft area. Has he shown you that you don't have to be this way anymore? Has he shown you that he's gotten your back?
That's the other.
There are a lot of women out here, they're not being shown because they get with, like you said, they get with individuals who are putting on a face. And once they get what they want from you, and now they consistently are getting what they want from you, you get to see their real person. And you were like, yo, how come I didn't? Because you didn't give yourself a chance to get to know him. Mm. So yeah, that you answered my question. He didn't show you, then I'm not going to let up on anything.
Right.
I'm not going to show you.
So let me play devil's advocate to that.
All right.
To that. So you have a man that shows you he can lead, right? You let your guard down. You're in your soft woman era phase, right? And you guys are working this relationship. The role as the woman to the man is you keep him up here because he's your king. But as a queen, you got to have his back looking around because he's constantly looking forward, defending. What happens when you have to pull your card as a queen and say, hey, my king, I need you to notice X, Y, and Z is going on. They're man enough to lead, but they're not man enough to take that constructive criticism because their way is not the only way. Because now they feel like their queen is inferior. And then we're not inferior. We're just seeing in different perspectives than you are. So you're looking one guy to what? Protect, earn, provide, all that other stuff. And we're nurturing everything around him so he can grow and be strong. So if we notice that this side of the field is not being nurtured the way it needs to in order for him to stay up here, and we let that be known, how do we look at that dialogue with him? Or not how do we? Some men are not able to accept the fact that they don't know everything. And yes, they do a great job leading, but understand that sometimes you lead well because you're guided by greatness. Like behind every strong man is an amazing woman behind them. And they lose focus of that. It's not just you. So, and I'm speaking from experience, like literally great great leadership, you rocking. But then when we got to pull our strength to say, baby, listen, you burning, you running low on fuel. Listen, you got to do this, and that, and they can't take it. I think when us in our age, when we approach relationships like that, I have to be careful with my words. Navigating through, is he a man or is he not the man? Right now, take this same situation minus 15, 20 years, us, and that's what you see on social media. You ain't this, you ain't that. That's why, I'm tired of carrying you. I'm always taking care of you and your kids, blah, blah, blah. There's no co-mingling. So how do we approach that concept? Because great leader, just...
I think at some point there's got to be a conversation that I love you. I love the man that you are, but I don't walk behind you. I walk beside you.
Man, she was on point. Look at this.
I'm not
Go ahead.
like the Most High created women to be a help mate. That means that we are together. I am going to help you, but that doesn't mean that you're better or that you're above me. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying. Pros.
She back. You were froze. Yeah.
Is it the Wi-Fi?
Turn your Wi-Fi.
Or the connection, I mean?
I'm good.
Maybe it's...
Can you hear? We hear you. We see you.
Okay. I forgot what I was saying. No, I'm just playing. But again, I don't walk behind you. I walk beside you. I'm there to support. I can support, but don't take that as it's okay to use me as your punching bag. Let me figure out a better way, because people might take that as
your scapegoat to accountability.
Yeah. And then some emotional intelligence in that man is needed as well. Like, I understand that you're dealing with this and you're going through this. And again, I'm willing to support, but it's not just you. It's not only you. And it's not only about you. It can't be you when you want it to be you, and then us when it's convenient for it to be us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does.
You were spot on, because when she said that, I was writing down whatever he's not seeing due to the fact that he has blinders on. It's okay to step beside him and open up those blinders so that he can see what he's missing that is not being taken care of properly. We as women, when it comes down to being with the person that we're with, our mate,
don't touch too hard on there, because that's like episode 3, Love and Legacy, and how we're gonna dive into that, right, the mates that we choose and everything else, and
you brought up the role,
huh? No. So
to piggyback off what you were saying, you have to stand next to him, and it's okay to hold his hand and pivot his head a little bit to let him know this is what you're missing.
And when we say this in Redefining the Village, I'm not just talking from a relationship perspective. This is not him being your boyfriend or your husband. We need it to be the father of the biological kids you have. If you stepped into the role as being a bonus parent, I don't want to say step parent, a bonus parent, a uncle, a cousin, whatever your role is, this is what we mean by you can have the title, but you also need to be able to accept the constructive criticism that comes with it. Because us as mothers, we get criticized all the time for what we are not doing. And we are doing 300% more throughout the day than anything. And it's always focused on what we're not. Okay, but are you going to focus on what we are doing? Because somehow we managed to work 2 jobs, get these kids to school, feed them, they might not have name brand clothes on, but they're clothed, their haircuts, their hair is done. They, the little achievements that we sit there and we do day to day gets knocked down by what we can't do. What do you mean you got to be on food stamps? What do you mean you're on Medicaid? What do you mean you get WIC? What do you mean you can't buy a new car because your car broke down? Like, yeah, because of all the other stuff that we have to do in order for them kids to get up in the morning and go to sleep at night. And that is overlooked. So I feel like if we're able to take that constructive criticism, men should be able to do the same thing and not check out, take the easy way and just disappear and say it's you and it's not me, and not be accountable for, their actions or their roles in
pride
in this village. Yeah, pride is a big thing. So don't want to, in this part of the taping, we're not just talking about relationship, we're just thinking about what you are in whole from a village standpoint. Right. So let's kind of start toning it down so we can end this real quick, but let's kind of bridge it to building forward and where the podcast is going to go from there. So we are the legacy holders and keepers. We talked about where our village was, what we had, what it consisted of, what roles we would that were gone and we felt that needs to come back. Let's close out with what traditions or practices are we doing now that we're passing down to our kids? Because for us to have the podcast, but then be like, well, we're not really doing anything, but just talking about it. So what are we practicing now to where we can just say we're redefining what it is that our kids have? So you want me to go first?
Yep. Oh, that's fine.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, one of the things that I'm definitely doing different is trying to talk to my kids. Let me not call them kids. My young kings and my prince. Is finances and financial awareness. So at one point I was doing Primerica, and there was this one thing we learned, it was called the rule of 72, and I was like, oh wait, so if I go and put my money in a savings account that's got a 12% interest, then I'm going to grow my money faster, and this and this and this. I was in my 30s, I think I was like 36. I can't remember when I called Nisha and was like, hey, you want me to do a financial plan for you?
Girl, I remember. We always in it.
But I'm in my 30s. Now, my dad used to always tell me, pay yourself before you pay anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, as a single mom at the time, I was single mom. I had 4 kids. I was working at Dollar General making $7.50 an hour. I didn't have any money to pay myself.
You was pimping yourself.
I was probably needing to go and ask the electric company, can you pay me first? But anyway, so fast forward 36, and I'm learning the rule of 72, and I was talking to my dad about wanting to be an RVP. And he tells me, well, I was an RVP in Primerica in the late 80s. So at what point did you think it would be important to pass that information on to your child? I'm your only child. Like I could have been, I didn't learn until my late 30s that I should have been saving up for retirement when I got my first job. And I could have been doing that. So I don't want my kids to learn that stuff later on in life. I want them to know that they'll be able to retire comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
That they can build their own financial legacy just by putting some money up every time you get paid. It could be $5 or $10. Put it up, and eventually it's gonna grow. So that's one thing that I'm definitely working on talking to my kids about. And I also found that as people of color, we I don't know about y'all, but we didn't talk about finances. We didn't talk about money.
No.
Nobody really. I remember my grandparents' saving account at one point was a box under the floorboard in
Yep.
their bed. Because my great grandma, she didn't trust the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't teach our kids that, and other people do. There's people that they start teaching their kids this stuff when they're 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
So why can't we do the same? I talked about earlier passing down the traditions of sewing and being able to do your own hair, not to have to go out and spend $150 on a retwist. Think just it sounds small, but it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to actually cook food.
Yeah.
And not some ramen noodles and boiled eggs.
Don't eat those things. Things gross.
No, you're right.
I'm saying, like, microwaving some ramen noodles is not cooking a meal.
Nope.
Unless you're in a financial position to where that really is your meal. I've been there. I lived off of ramen noodles when I was first in college.
I got a disclaimer, because you know how these kids are. And unless you're the property of Uncle Sam, they'll be walking in Uncle Sam talking about, I don't eat noodles. Right? You're going to eat whatever's in that MRE bag or whatever's in that Nancy pie, okay? Sometimes you might not eat at all. So that's going to be our funny disclaimer.
True that. But yeah, like being able to make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be times when it may not look like you're going to be able to take care of something, but being able to rub 2 pennies together and make $1 out of nothing. How to use your creativity, use the skills that you were born with to make $1.
Mm-hmm.
Legally make $1.
All right.
That's the kind of stuff that I'm trying now to pass on to my kids, and hopefully be able to pass on to my grandbaby.
All right. You want me to go, Jerry? Or you want me to?
I'll go.
Okay.
What I'm showing my children, my daughter's 5, my son's 20, and he learned how to cook when he was about 8 because he showed interest. So he knows how to cook now. I mean, he's 20, but over the years, he knows how to. When he's hungry, he eats. And Journey's now showing interest in wanting to learn how to cook as well. I come from a family of cooks, so that's one of my many talents that I possess. Cooking, and I'm big on etiquette, respecting yourself, making sure that you have boundaries set for yourself. Also, my daughter, she's wants to do hair. I'm not the best hairstylist. My sister took that gift. But she's showing interest in wanting to do her own hair. And she's only 5. So I'm going to do my due diligence to show her how to, do what I know how to do with hair. Those are 2 of the things with my children. And also another is finances. You're right. Speaking with my son about having financial literacy is important. You start saving now, by the time you get to where we are, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And you choose to not want to work, by the time you hit 40, 45, and you have that saved up, take some of that money, invest it into real estate, invest it into something that's going to make money for you while you sleep. That's something that I've been speaking with my son about. Well, that's pretty much it for right now that I can think of.
Probably think of a lot. Something I'm passing down to my children. I think the biggest thing right now is for them to be comfortable in their own skin. Personal experience with me is I always felt like I didn't belong. Go back to me growing up. I'm the only child with my parents. They've married, had other children, and I was left behind. So I felt like, who am I? You know, like what is it? Fast forward to me going into high school. I was fortunate enough to get into this bridge program where they bus Black kids to white schools.
I've been there.
And I had to learn how to be comfortable in my own skin. And having Southern grandparents, listening to their stories, I wasn't ashamed to be Black, but I was like, dang, this is what we're going through. Mm-hmm. But my stepmother, she played an integral role with making sure that myself and my sister could walk into any room and feel like we belong there. I remember when her and my dad were looking for a house, and she said, "You buy the worst house in the best neighborhood."
Yep.
And I never understood that. And because the best neighborhoods were the white neighborhoods where we were growing up, and we went to good schools, and I had to learn how to be comfortable in my skin. I went through things that probably my parents had no idea that I was going through. And when I had kids, my kids are mixed. My two older kids are Puerto Rican and Black. And then Nevaeh, you'll know her name eventually. She's comes from two African American parents. But even her being 100% African American, I had to teach her how to be comfortable in her own skin. So with me, I put my kids in situations to where they will always have a seat at the table. And what nobody's going to say to them is that they can't, because my kids are coming with their own chair, mm-hmm. Right? So, and what that means is that they're coming prepared, because my stepmother put that in me to be prepared. And I got to the point where I tell my little girl now, well, if they don't want you at their table, just build the table right next to them and bring your own people. Yep. And then we could go from there. So literally, it's just the being comfortable with who you are, because you should be able to step into any situation and go from there. And I can tell it's working, because now I have a 15-year-old. I have not been out the country. Well, no, I have been out the country, but at 15, out of all my kids, she's already been to Ecuador. I'm exposing her to things in life because I need her to be comfortable around anybody, in any place, in anything, because I need her to understand that there's more than what's in the 757. Mm-hmm. There's more than what's in the United States. I need her to see that this is a big world out there, and I want her to embrace it. And I think that our legacy holders are smiling down saying, yeah, this is what it was, because sometimes they didn't have nothing but what was outside them 40 acres, right? They were just trying to vision to get outside the 40 acres. And here we are saying we getting on airplanes going somewhere else. So I want to make sure I instill that in my kids and keep passing that down little by little, that keep dreaming. It ain't a dream. Keep achieving.
Yep.
That's literally it. Say that's what it is, and then you go on and go do it. Don't matter when, as long as you get there, right? As single mothers, we all know that. Don't matter when, as long as you get there. And we all have things that we accomplished that we might not have done it in the time that it's allotted to do it, but we did it in the time that God allotted us to do it, because that's how we were supposed to get it done. Because there was other stories we were supposed to go through and learn in order to get to where we at. But that's my tidbit on that one. Passing it down.
So you just reminded me of one of my favorite quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
True.
And
true.
I love how you described that no one's going to stop your kids from having a seat at the table because they're going to bring their own chair. And if they still try to stop you, then you set up your own table. Matter of fact, set up your own booth. We're not just setting up tables.
And I'm going to tell you where my drive came from with that. I remember I moved down here 20 years ago from New York. And full transparency, I'm at the food stamp office trying to get food stamps for me and my 2 kids. And the social worker, she's like, name, give her my name. She said, do you own a car? And we had this little car that was maybe worth $1,500. I say yes. She goes, well, you can sell the car. I said, so you could buy food. Well, if we sell the car to buy food, how are we going to get back and forth to work, right? So this is going on in my head. So she starts asking me questions like, well, she's not asking. She's already answering the questions. She's like, Black, yeah. Kids 2. High school diploma, no. And then I said, wait a minute. What are you doing? She was like, what? I said, you said I don't have a high school diploma. She was like, yeah, because when y'all come in here, y'all don't have a high school diploma.
Oh my.
And I said, lady, first of all, not only do I have a high school diploma, I have a Regents diploma, which is like honors. Like I took the advanced classes in New York State and got a Regents diploma. And I also was 3 years into my service commitment with the Army National Guard. So I put that out there as well to say I took an oath to serve your country. So not only do I have a high school diploma, but I'm doing something else, on top of that. I walked out of that office and said, you don't have to worry about me coming back to this table. I didn't get assistance since then. That was my last time. I built my own table. I said, you know what? This is a stepping stone. I used it for what it was for. And I went on about my business. But sometimes people will put you in that box. And, it's kind of hard to work yourself out of it. Because I struggle getting out that box because I refuse to say, I got to go and renew my benefits because of whatever. And I went and worked 2 jobs. I worked in Food Line and bakery, call centers. Like I was working at as many jobs as I could. So I did not have to go see that lady and be like, but let me tell you something. The day my case closed, I went up there and she was like, oh, you here to renew? I said, no, you can have your little card back. I'm done. And she was like, what? I said, I don't need it. And she was like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And I walked out.
What I've been doing. What you mean?
And I walked out. I don't know if that made a difference in her. Did she change her perspective of how she in-process people? But from that day, I knew I was placed in a box. A single mom with 2 kids, uneducated. And I was far from that.
That's crazy.
Fast forward 23 years. I got 5 degrees, retired, and 9 years working to my second retirement. It could be done.
I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
Right. Role model right here.
It wasn't. Y'all know it wasn't hard, easy. Y'all know it wasn't easy.
They make it difficult. Yet when it comes down to it, it depends on, again, my thing is always with mentality. If you choose for things to be difficult for you, that's what they're going to be. You didn't choose that. You made a choice to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to make sure I do it by all means necessary. I'm going to make sure that me and my children are taken care of and provided for. And you did what you were supposed to do as a mom. Not what you had to do, but what you were supposed to do. Nothing in life, to me, nothing in life is hard. It's just how you look at it. It's how you view it. You can take this water bottle and you can look at it so many different ways on how to open it. Though it has an easy way of opening it, some people don't see it that way. If I take this pen and I stab it, it's open. There's a hole in it and I can drink from it. So it just depends on the person's mentality and how they see things.
I agree.
That's right. Look, we
had to laugh when she was talking about working in the bakery at Food Lion in the call center, because that's a whole other episode. That's a whole other. I think we've had about 3 segues into other episodes today.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, definitely.
To this podcast. So what we got going on. And you guys are not going to be just entertained, but you're going to receive some great information.
And thank y'all for sitting with us through this, listening to our jokes and our seriousness, and welcome again to the Legacy Holders.
And once again, something typed. I know I try not to be scripted, but there's just some things I just want the words to really get out. And today being our first episode, we just want to remind everyone that legacy isn't just passed down, it's passed forward. And sometimes it's the youngest voices that ask that most powerful question. So as legacy holders, also remember we are legacy keepers, but we are building the bridge for our legacy keepers. So let's keep building. Let's keep holding us. Let them keep holding us accountable as legacy holders. And then until next time, let's keep holding up that legacy. Thank you.
Bye.